Howdy y'all, I hope you're having an amazing day. Silver Trade here again with another video. So to start things off, Sultan Al-Deed posted a picture with Ryan Cohen yesterday on LinkedIn. Nobody really knows about this friendship yet, but he said, Ryan Cohen, time for bigger and better partnerships. It's like, oh, well, who's Sultan Al-Deed? Al-Deed is the former chairman and current board member of Akuri Global Acquisitions Corp. Or maybe he's the director. Either way, he runs a $4.2 billion acquisitions company. Today, Al-Deed posted a picture in a beautiful looking home. Mar-a-Lago, time for partnerships and prosperity between Americans, Arabs, and Muslims. But when you look the guy up, you can't find much on his net worth, and that's how you know he comes from money. What kind of partnership could Ryan Cohen possibly be doing over there? Are these guys just going to buy up the stock? Is GameStop going to merge into something else? I have no idea. But Nick Braver, GameStop's senior product designer, posted this today on January 15th. I'm looking for a senior product designer to join our team. We are building the next generation of GameStop and need all hands on deck. If you're interested, send me a DM. They've been increasing revenues like crazy and cutting down on liabilities. And now they're getting ready for the next generation of GameStop. And this might be the reason, quote unquote, that GameStop dumped over 10% this week. Glancy something, Murray LLP announces investigation of GameStop Corp. They're looking into GameStop again. This came out today, January 15th. So basically, the way it is right now, for GameStop shareholders to vote out a director, it would take an 80% vote. This company that nobody's heard of came out of nowhere and can't mind their own business and is saying, hey, it should be 50% to vote out a director. Don't mind all of my banking friends being at 35% institutional ownership on the company, but I think we should make it 50% to vote out a director. But don't worry, shareholders cannot remove a CEO, but they can influence the board to remove a CEO. Still, I just don't like it. And I think it would be impossible to influence GameStop's board to remove Ryan Cohen as CEO. Most of the time, a CEO takes a salary and takes stock. Ryan Cohen buys his own stock and does not take a salary. And that's really funny because today Citadel came out and they're struggling to raise $500 million, while GameStop easily raised almost $4 billion in just a few months in cash. Back on January 21st of 2021, a very familiar date, Citadel was about to borrow some money, but then stated that they needed more money to borrow. March 2021, Citadel Finance issues $600 million in notes because they need money. In Q1 of 2021, Citadel's friends helped Citadel issue bonds. In late 2021, Citadel sells $1.5 billion worth of the company to Sequoia. In late 2021, Citadel limits investor withdrawals to only 6.25% per quarter. When I first saw this, I had the biggest smile on my face. In summer of 2022, Citadel issues more bonds. In August of 2022, Citadel Securities borrows another $600 million because they need money. In March of 2023, Citadel Securities offered a $600 million bond. In November of 2024, they get ready to issue more bonds. And now January of 2025, Citadel is looking to offer another $600 million in bonds. And apparently, the bonds that Citadel is issuing are considered junk bonds. The recent Citadel bonds were graded a Baa2 by Moody's and 3 capital Bs by S&P 500 Global Ratings. Both grades are 8 steps below AAA, the highest investment grading. And please remember, none of this is financial advice and we are not financial advisors, and this video is made for entertainment purposes only. And rumor has it that Fidelity is insolvent, and 741 once again. And short seller Hindenburg Research has just announced it will be shutting down. Looks like the banking collapse is not over yet. These little blue lines represent all of the Chicago orders and how large they are off of how tall they are. You can see we recently had 2 pretty large buys right before GameStop fell about 10-20%. We saw a huge Chicago buy right here right before the run up, and then we saw a ton back here. And then for a while we haven't seen any. But long story short, what this graph tells me is right here we didn't have any large blue lines. And then the price went straight down. Right here we had one, price bounced up. Right here we had a big one, price bounced up. And then really, right here with the 2 blue lines, if we were to stack them on top of each other, we'd have even more Chicago volume than back here. I really don't think this is going to be the first time we see a blue line and then price goes down. And really quickly, thank you guys so much. On these last couple of videos, we have seen way more likes and subs than I have ever seen before. YouTube has very quickly turned into one of my favorite hobbies, and I really appreciate it, y'all. If you would, please consider subscribing. I make new videos every other day, and I don't just talk about meme stocks, and I try to make them as quick and to the point as possible for you. Before, GameStop was quote-unquote a dying business, but now with card grading, they're going to be around forever. I mean, people buy cards as investments. So much so, this Australian spent like 40,000 Australian dollars buying up all of the new Pokemon cards. The community thinks this is disgusting, no wonder no one can get any. People really see Pokemon cards as a store of value. And as GameStop prepares for the launch of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Prismatic Evolutions, GameStop has decided to limit customers to 2 units each outside of pre-orders to help ensure more fans receive opportunities to access the latest expansion. GameStop will also be offering free card savers and sleeves for PSA submissions throughout our stores from January 17th to 19th. Free card savers and sleeves for PSA submissions, that is going to have so many people come in and grade their cards that weren't even wanting to do it. Beautiful move from GameStop. And finally, talking about our price action, GameStop is up 82% since August, but then within the last 5 days has fallen 20%. But when you really look at GameStop's graph, you'll realize these 10 to 20% pullbacks are more than common. Right before GameStop had this 20% drop, it had an 11% drop and then a 12% drop. And the whole idea of a smooth grind upwards is crazy. But since there is a chance of massive upside, there's going to be a chance of massive downside. And even though right here it was ripping straight up, went from $1 to $5 per share, on its ride up, it pulled back 20%, 30%, 15%, 20%, 15%, 35%, 40%. GameStop has some huge pullbacks. This recent 20% pullback is nothing new. And it even held above the weekly 200-day moving average. GameStop has consistently been making higher lows for 9 months now. And back in the Volkswagen days, what actually caused Volkswagen to squeeze is when Porsche announced its intention to increase its stake in Volkswagen. This is the modern day equivalent to Roaring Kitty coming back and showing that he DRS'd a bunch of shares. From this, for a period of time, Volkswagen was actually the most valuable company in the world. And today, Nat Turner stopped by a GameStop just to test out the PSA drop-off process. He was very pleased and even got some unopened cards from back in 2001. Nat Turner is the CEO of PSA, and him promoting GameStop is amazing to see. And either Roaring Kitty or some random person decided to buy $1 million worth of GameStop today right at 4:20 p.m. I say it could be Roaring Kitty or a random person because it was either A, Roaring Kitty that bought it at 4:20 p.m. just saying hi, or it was a random person trying to impersonate Roaring Kitty, trying to build FOMO and hype. Either way is bullish. And GameStop almost perfectly followed SPY to a T today. The only difference is you can see which one had buy orders actually come through and which one had 0 buy orders come through. Jim Cramer says to sell GameStop and pile your winnings into Quantum. This is actually really bullish for GameStop because there's a ton of people who do not watch GameStop but do watch Jim Cramer, and if he's talking negatively about GameStop, then they're thinking, ooh, 2021 again. And just by the way, January 17th is 35 days after Friday the 13th of December 2024, when the FTDs were redacted for GameStop and multiple other tickers. Probably a nothing burger. And GameStop on the graph, it looks like it has found a little bit of support. It's gotten above the 5-day and VWAP on the 4-hour. It's going a little crazy in the overnight session. I wonder if people are just starting to figure out about their new partner. And the daily, the 5-day and the midline crossing really does not look great. I don't think that matters though, because when you look at the weekly, yes, GameStop broke through the 5-day and fell down to the 200-day, but it went through the 200-day but then came back above it because it didn't want to finish below it. I believe this is similar to back here. It was coming down, but still broke up through the 5-day to touch and test the 200-day moving average, before continuing its move. This is the exact same thing but in reverse, breaking through the 5-day, testing the 200-day, and then I believe it will continue. And while we're at it, why don't we just get a little bit crazy? Look at that. This line right here is the 0.5, 50% or midpoint. This is a picture perfect Fibonacci test. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much and God bless.